In this video, I'm going to show how to replace the rear sway bar links on this Lexus IS. They're located on your rear control arms, and you do not actually have to remove the wheel for this as long as you work directly from underneath. Let's get started. At the top of the sway bar link, you'll see a 17mm mounting nut. I'm going to use a wire brush on these threads to clean them up a little bit. That hopefully will help me unthread this a little bit easier since they are rusty, and I'm going to spray some rust penetrant for the same reason. Put a 17mm wrench or socket on here and just try to break this free. There we go. As expected, the whole stud is spinning. So at this point, we have two options. We can either put an Allen in here and hold it, which I will try, but most likely those Allen cutouts rust out and they no longer hold, or some locking pliers right here, and that does the same thing. It just holds the stud from spinning. It's somewhat working, but the stud keeps spinning on me. So at this point, I'm going to apply some heat to this mounting nut. That'll soften and expand the metal, and that's going to make it a whole lot easier for me to remove this. I'm going to use this induction heater and get the nut nice and hot. If there's any thread locker in there, that'll take care of it too. It's going to melt it off basically. If you were to heat this up with an open flame, just be really careful about where you aim the flame. There's a lot of stuff here that can be damaged easily. And there we go. All right, release your locking pliers. From the heat, the inside of the joint here is damaged, and this isn't moving around in the direction that it should, and this is hitting the strut. So what I'm gonna do is leave this here for now, unbolt the bottom, and then we'll pivot this out of position. Other option is to undo the other side, which you would have to do anyway. I always replace these in pairs, so it's up to you how you want to do this. I'm just going to continue working on this side for now. At the bottom, we have this 12mm headed mounting nut that has a bolt going through it and actually goes through the entire control arm, and it goes through the sway bar link. So let's remove this nut and then take the sway bar link out. Looks like the bolt is spinning, which is actually great news because sometimes they seize in there. So let's get a 12mm wrench and hold the other side. All right, take the bolt out and inspect it. Like I said, a lot of times they get rusted and they seize. This is a little bit corroded, but I'll clean it up, grease it up, and then we can reinstall it. At this point, you should be able to pry this out of place. There it is. Now take your new sway bar link, slide it into the lower control arm first. Just like that. And then we'll have to put it into the sway bar. There we go. And then we'll have to push it forward for it to line up down here. You're gonna need a pry bar of some sort for this. Get that bolt through. I put a little bit of grease on the shank of the bolt and inside the sway bar link so it can stay nice and corrosion free for a long time. And just to make sure everything is set in position, I'm going to install the top mounting nut before I tighten up the bottom. All right, so everything's secured. Let's tighten it all up. Starting with the bottom, the 12mm bolt, install the mounting nut on that bolt, snug this up. We'll torque this bottom mounting nut and bolt to 20 foot-pounds. All right, now that new mounting nut is going to be an 18mm in size, so bottom it out, snug it, and this one gets torqued to 66 foot-pounds. And that's spinning the whole stud, which happens, so let's put an Allen socket right in here, hold the stud, and spin the nut. Get my wrench on there. And a 5mm Allen. All right, that's snugged up nice and tight. So now we'll get a deep 18mm socket You're not really going to get to this with a shallow with all these threads sticking out, and we'll torque this once again to 66 foot-pounds. Well, it looks like my entire stud is spinning, so I can't really torque it. So what I'm going to do is put my wrench on it. I have a long wrench. I'm going to stick that Allen in there to hold it and torque it that way. If you have a tool that's going to be able to spin this and torque it and hold it at the same time, use it. For me, I'm just going to make it nice and tight. All right, that's tight. This sway bar link is replaced. Do the same to the other side. I always recommend replacing these in pairs.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.